From Kern Government Television, welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting, originating from the County Administrative Center located at 1115 Truxtun Avenue, Bakersfield, California. Kern County's vision is to create and maintain a customer-centered county government designed to garner the confidence, support, and trust of the people we serve. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Board to reconvene. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Gleason.
Here.
Supervisor Scribner.
Here.
Supervisor Maggard.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Thank you, and welcome to the 2 p.m. session of the Kern County Board of Supervisors, Tuesday, December 12th, 2017. We're going to begin with a report on actions taken in closed session, so I'll turn to Mark Nations, our County Counsel. Mr. Nations, please.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The board did meet in closed session on items 18, 19, and 20 from the morning agenda. There were no reportable actions taken in any of those. The closed session number 21 was postponed indefinitely until the return of Mr. Christensen. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nations. And if you'd like to follow along with our agenda this afternoon, they are located in printed form on the back, on the tables in the back near the exit. We're going to begin with the consent agenda. All items listed with a CA or a C above the item are considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. The CA represents the consent agenda for the Board of Supervisors. The C represents the consent agenda for the Kern Sanitation Authority. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion. If a member of the audience wishes to comment or ask questions regarding an item or items on the consent agenda, they may do so prior to a vote being taken on the consent agenda. A member of the board may remove any item from the consent agenda, and it will be considered in listed sequence with an opportunity for any member of the public to address the board concerning the item before action is taken. So at this time, I will read the consent agenda items. And starting on page 2, item 4 is on consent. On page 3, all items 5 through 9 are on consent. On page 4, all items 10 through 14 are on consent. On page 5, all items 15 through 18 are on consent. On page 6, all items 19 through 21 are on consent. On page 7, all items 22 through 28 are on consent. And finally, on page 8, items 29 through 34 are all on consent. Do we have any members of the audience who would like to make any comment on the consent agenda? Mr. Fox, please come forward. You make your comments, please. If you could state your name for the record.
Hi, good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, and Dennis Fox. My certified erosion control certification is 1245.
Item number 12. Okay.
Oh, I'm talking about item 12 and 24.
Okay, 12 and 24. Thank you.
And we use this, the flooding of Lamont as a really good for student chapters in the practice. They like to see what they do versus what is being done or not being done. 12 has to do with a sump. The sumps fill up with mud every time 2 coyotes pee up in Tehachapi. And seriously, so is the problem out there one of water or one of mud? And they're not maintaining it, and bam, they get it. So the thing is, going with that, is your problem out there with water volume or the water velocity? If you drive out 58, this is where I took the pictures for the class, and mainly, and at the schools, is you can see by the tree line going down the center of the wash where the stream is supposed to be. It's going underground. Then you can look over and you can see where it's been moved to on the west, to where there is an Aeolian Hills, which is sand from the Mojave Desert. And that is carrying where the mud is coming. So you have the cause and then you have an effect, and which are you dealing with? And how much do you want to deal with the cause of the watershed and the problems that happen after, mainly after fires, and the problems with the results, like taking the school and putting up, it's got a wall around it that high, putting up some more waterproofing of the building. The step dams. Also, it's interesting to know what the town next to Lamont is called and why. It's called Weed Patch. What kind of weeds were they? They were tules. That was where it drained. And looking at this, originally, and what happened in Los Angeles, used to be that you could always tell Los Angeles springtime, because that's when the rains would come and the houses would go. And what they did is the fire department, Camp 9, and the Forest Service, they started putting in little step dams, not to store the water, just to take the energy out. And that was it did work. And it was fairly cost effective. What I was thinking, that was done by a fire department. Here, you need to get your health department involved. Environmental health, after you have the fire and after you have the flood, you end up with mold. And you get that mold in the schools, and you get it in your public housing. You get a lot of it. It would be best to work with them and give a little support to the fire department. Getting on a kick on this. It's getting over and over. But I think that it can be alleviated to a great extent. The main thing is it's the big deal problem. It can be done with the KISS. Keep it simple. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fox. Do we have any other members of the audience who would like to speak to anything on the consent agenda?
I really don't understand the consent agenda, so I don't know if I'm supposed to speak now on my earlier.
Was that item 20, Ms. Gable, in regards to
That's
611
correct.
Irene Street? Okay. That item is in District 5, which is Supervisor Perez's district. She is not here. My suggestion, if you would like to have that item considered by the board, would be for the board to continue that item for 1 week. And that would be on the 19th, and then when she is here, and then we can have that off consent, and then we can deal with that then if that works for you. If that date is not good for you, then we could continue it until after the Christmas break.
Can we do it after the Christmas break? Would that be okay?
Absolutely.
Because I have to get permission to take off work.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Clerk, that's the 9th of January? How's that for you? The
Okay.
9th of January during the PM agenda?
That's correct.
Okay,
That's
so
okay.
2 o'clock on the 9th. So
Okay.
my suggestion would be for us to strike the staff recommendation, open hearing, et cetera, and just have it read continue to January 9th.
Thank
Okay?
you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
You guys have a good holiday.
You too. Merry Christmas. Any other members of the audience like to speak to the consent agenda?
I would like to speak to somebody from
Ma'am, please come forward.
Stallion Way.
Please come forward, ma'am. We need to get you on the microphone and on the record.
I just wanted to be sure.
Yes. If you could state your name and let us know your concern.
My name is Frances Peterson. My address is 19453 Stallion Way. I'm the most northwest property on Stallion Way. I just would like to read a letter that has been signed by all but one of the residents of Stallion Way.
I'm sorry, is this on an item that's on the consent agenda, ma'am?
Yes, it's number 4.
Number 4, okay. Yeah, please proceed.
Streets and Highways Non-Summary Vacation
Yes,
Map
ma'am.
number 81.
Yes, ma'am, thank you.
Okay, this is the letter. To whom it may concern, we, the undersigned residents of Stallion Way, Bakersfield, California, are in favor of approval of the non-summary vacation and subsequent installation of a gate near the intersection of 7 Standard Road and Stallion Way, a privately owned road. Currently, numerous vehicles are entering Stallion Way based on erroneous GPS instructions. Due to a glitch with most GPS guidance systems, which Shafter is aware of this, and I have also sent in a copy of an email from Wayne Klassen acknowledging that they know this and aren't doing anything about it. Vehicles are directed to go north on Stallion Way to access Lennar's Gossamer Grove housing development. Stallion Way has no outlet to enter Gossamer Grove to the north. On more than one occasion, drivers have actually argued with at least one resident at the north end of Stallion Way regarding access to Gossamer Grove. In addition, we have witnessed many vehicles that are going to Gossamer Grove turn into Stallion Way to use Ranger 18 Road to access Community Drive to make an end run on traffic at the stoplight at Callaway and Community Drive. This is another example of unauthorized use of a private road, which is maintained by the residents of Stallion Way. This is not to mention potential liability issues regarding private property. Undue traffic on a private road creates excess wear and undue shared maintenance costs. Lost vehicles must turn around to exit using private property. As most drivers are not well versed in how to turn around at a dead end, private driveways and adjacent property has suffered damage. Security has become an issue as unwelcome individuals enter private property using a private road. Recently, one resident had a trailer that was parked on his property near Stallion Way burglarized. And this is signed by all but one of the residents on Stallion Way. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Could we get a copy of that, please, to the clerk? Because we don't have that.
I gave copies to somebody.
Right here. These are copies.
Thank you very much. And just for clarification, the recommended action is to continue that to January 23rd. So we'll be back on the 23rd to discuss that item. Anything else? Yes, sir.
My name is Guy Porter. I live on the northeast corner of Stallion Way and 7th Standard. I think the county, for some time, has anticipated that this road is going to be closed because roughly 3 or 4 years ago, the county built a road from Callaway, where it's extended across 7th Standard, into Stallion Way. It cost you a lot of money. You bought a piece of property, paid a lot of money for that. There's easy access into Stallion Way from Callaway, where it's extended. It appears to me that the problem is right now, residents that live on 7th Standard Road have a problem making a U-turn at the corner of Callaway and 7th Standard. So instead of getting in line, they come on the side of 7th Standard, turn in our property, go to your new road that the county built, make a U-turn and go back to 7th Standard. Well, they don't have to do that. They can go straight to the new road, to Stallion, make the right-hand turn on, I don't mean Stallion, I mean 7th Standard, make the right-hand turn on Callaway and make a U-turn and come back. They don't need to be on our property. We pay for the maintenance of the road. It's a private road. They don't. And as I understand it, most of the complaints came from people that live on 7th Standard, not from the people on Stallion Way. And I hope you folks take that into consideration at the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, I'll return to the board, ask if any board members have any items that they would like to remove. Otherwise, I'd request a motion to approve the consent agenda and to adjourn as the Board of Supervisors and reconvene as the Kern Sanitation Authority.
So moved.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're now sitting as the Kern Sanitation Authority. We have one item on consent. That's item number 1. Are there any members of the audience that have any comments or questions regarding the consent agenda item 1? Okay, seeing none, I'll return to the board and request a motion to approve the consent agenda and to adjourn as the Kern Sanitation Authority and reconvene as the Board of Supervisors.
So moved.
Second.
You have a motion second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved, 4 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We're now sitting as the Kern County Board of Supervisors, and the next item on our agenda is item number 2, public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter not on this agenda but under the jurisdiction of the board. Board members may respond briefly to statements made or questions posed. They may ask a question for clarification, make a referral to staff for factual information, or request staff to report back to the board at a later meeting. Are there any members of the audience that have a public presentation? Okay, seeing none, I'll move on then to board member announcements or reports. Anything from the board? Okay, then that brings us to the conclusion of our agenda. I'll request a motion to adjourn to Tuesday, December 19th at 9 a.m.
So moved.
We're adjourned.